Welcome everyone to new round the Rotary podcast, and this is a kind of a different one that we've been that I've been kind of wanting to put together just with the COVID lockdown, and everyone seems to kind of flock to the to internet, LinkedIn, and other online social media platforms. And with us today, I'm happy that y'all are joining us. First off, we're doing this remotely. We have Jamie McElrod, the senior account manager over at Nextier, and also co-host and co-founder of Flipping the Barrel. And we also have Massiel Diez, the business development manager at Schlumberger, also the co-host and co-founder of Flipping the Barrel. And I think y'all just got sponsored, right, by PISA?
Yes, we did. We're very excited about that. PISA is a great organization that supports all the oilfield service companies. So everybody who's in oilfield service should definitely be following and looking out for PISA.
All right. Well, again, thank you for joining us. And I believe probably everyone knows who y'all are, the background y'all have. So we don't have to really get into the background of, I guess, your career path. If you want to listen to that, you can tune into their podcast, Flipping the Barrel, pretty much available on all social media platforms, and also their website that they just launched, which looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
The point of this today, I just want to sit down with you two to kind of have a discussion on something that I feel that has become a little bit more important, I guess, in the arena, in the world that we're living in today, that's mainly done with a lot of online meetings, people getting on LinkedIn more. I admit that I wasn't on LinkedIn that much until all this kind of, hit. And what we wanted today to talk about is digital branding, right? The personal digital brand, the individual digital brand, and the importance of it, I guess, in the world today. And y'all have done such a great job at that. And I just kind of want you to hopefully speak to that, give us some insights on your outlooks and your thoughts on everything like that. So I guess to get started off, what is digital branding to you two?
I would say it's what people perceive you as online without knowing you, and kind of what you stand for. You know, someone should be able to see you and just recognize, I know she stands for this. She represents oil and gas. She represents truthness, authenticity, like whatever. And it's usually kind of like a brand recognition of what people believe that you portray through your social media, through how you post, through what you say, what you comment, what kind of posts you like. Like, it's so much even more in depth than just what you're posting, but even what you're doing every day in terms of social media is, I think that's kind of like what personal branding is online, and that's what people recognize it as.
So for the personal brand, I mean, it sounds like it's safe to say that it's not just your professional, this is, JP, VP over at CPC. If anything, It's kind of relating to who you are as a person.
Yes, and I think that is what is most important about your digital brand, because since people don't, if they're looking at you just online, they might not know you in person, right? So you're trying to communicate that through online. And by doing so, you want to be very authentic. So the things that you post, the things that you write about, you want them to be true to you and what you believe. And that is what brings and draws more people in, because they're like, oh, wow, I really like what this person stands for. I like, they're inspirational, or, I really like, there's a lot of people right now that are helping with resume building and advice on that. And, I think that's grown hugely on LinkedIn. And, that's a great time for that with, the market right now and people looking for jobs. So it's kind of finding what you're personally passionate about and what you're good at, and then sharing that on the platform as well. And it could be not even correlated to your day-to-day job. I mean, you have some people that are engineers that have like I saw a girl recently. She's now doing her fitness, and she's like sharing her fitness on there.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and she's an engineer for some operator. I can't remember, but she shares her brand via what she's passionate about. So it can look different for everybody.
So I kind of feel like, and obviously, I mean, I have a couple questions written down that I'm going to refer to, but kind of going into this. So a lot of people right now, whether they're currently employed or currently, unfortunately, find themselves unemployed, digital branding, people talk about this. Oh, get your personal brand out there. We've been discussing that a little bit, and stand true to who you are, be genuine. How does someone actually that's listening in, like, that have shown that, that might be interested to take the plunge to actually start, I guess, increasing their online presence or their digital brand? How do you suggest someone actually just kind of take the plunge and start moving forward into into, I guess, pursuing or building a online digital brand, like practical steps to move forward in that. Do y'all have any advice for that?
One, I would say, is realize quickly that it's here to stay. And the longer you put it off, the worse it's going to be for you, right? I can't even, like, it's kind of good with the whole thing with the lockdown because it really sped up online, digital, social media presence. And I think a lot of people are kicking themselves saying, wow, we had literally 3-4 years in the past where people like Jamie and I that were saying, social media is important. You should get online. This is the future. And people kind of just looking at us thinking we're crazy. And now all of a sudden, the people who have been doing this for years, we're shining all of a sudden. And then people are realizing we need to jump on that boat, right? So I think it's stop putting it off and realize that it's here to stay. This is the future. And people are still arguing, oh, there's too much social media. Too many people are spending time on their phones. It's not going anywhere. This is the future. So you might as well just adapt. And start with social media accounts, right? Open an Instagram. At first people don't like it. They feel like it's too out there, but you'll see, you'll come around it. You'll find something that you enjoy. Believe me, there's stuff on there for every single person. A LinkedIn account, a Twitter account, a Facebook account, and just post things that you enjoy. It doesn't even need to be you. Post pictures of your dog. You can have your own dog account and make it, and have a personal brand where you're the guy that posts pictures of his dog all day and people will follow that. Just find something that you generally, when you wake up in the morning, you want to post about and you want to talk about. Because the second you're forcing yourself, it's not going to be successful.
I kind of feel like and correct me, and let me know what you two think about this. I kind of feel like there's a separation when it comes to, I guess, the social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook versus, I guess, how do people really want to dive into LinkedIn, for example, which is a professional platform. So how would you advise someone to, I guess, strengthen their LinkedIn presence versus their Instagram and Facebook, which is something they've probably been doing for a decade?
Yeah, so to that, one thing I've seen that has really spoken to a lot of people, especially people that are really trying to build their LinkedIn, is just telling their story. I think it's been really amazing to hear both women and men tell their story of however they got into whatever field they're in. And a lot of them, you can see the passion in what they're doing. And I have to say that in oil and gas alone, I feel like we're very passionate people about this industry, else we wouldn't be in it. I mean, it's a very cyclical industry. It's a very tough industry. I say there's probably nothing else like it. So to be in it, you're probably pretty passionate about it. And you probably have a great story on how you got there.
Right.
So I think starting out and just sharing your personal experiences, I think a lot of people would relate to that. And that is a great way personally to start and just get your name out there. Because I think a lot of people probably don't even know how you started or where you came from. Like, I don't really know how you started, JP. Like, that would be, I mean, maybe you have written it and maybe I just haven't seen it. But I think that would be amazing to say, like, how you got into oil and gas. Like, how did you,
And that's the thing. Great. I've read yours, and you're first generation oil field too. Not many contacts. I had no contacts as well. I'm first generation. And I think that's something crucial you just pointed on. Tell your story. I mean, everybody's got a story. I remember I did a post. I found pretty cool pictures of when I was in Saudi, and it really had me kind of reflecting on, like, I was just going to post the picture and just kind of say, hey, here's some cool pics and But I started thinking about it. I mean, everyone has a story that they can tell, and it's very interesting. I mean, I try to get people on this podcast like, oh, I don't want to get on there. I don't have much to say, but it's like, no, I mean, everybody has a story, and it's very interesting.
Well, and to your point with the pictures, I think what people miss out on is that, they just post a picture and they just say, hey, check this out. Whenever they don't put the time and the thought into actually describing what those pictures mean to them. And it does take time. Like when Macy and I post, it's not like 2 minutes later it's posted. Like, it takes effort. Like, we're like trying to write it out. We delete it multiple times. We try to make the spacing right. I mean, it's not just like a, mouse to write, 5 minutes it's posted. Like, it takes effort. And people recognize when you wrote with effort, because those are the things that get seen the most and get shared the most, because you put time into it, right? So I think that's another valid point is to put effort into whatever you're posting.
So does everybody need a digital brand? Does everyone need an online presence?
I would say yes.
Right.
Mainly, so this is a perfect example. I was talking to a few people last week who unfortunately lost their jobs after, 15-ish years, the group, 15-ish years of working for the same company. And now they're into the real world, like, oh, okay, we need a LinkedIn profile to find a job. You know, like it was kind of like they need to adapt to the new normal, which is, yeah, everybody should be online. And one thing that resonated with me is they were saying when they were applying to jobs now, they were asked for their LinkedIn profile, their Twitter account, their Facebook, and they were like, what? When you apply to jobs, that's what the employers are looking for? And believe it or not, if I was an employer, it's the first thing I would look up is, who is Jamie Elrod online? That's the first thing I would find out about her. What does she post about? What does she like? It's kind of like your identity. Mm-hmm. And if somebody, for example, would come to me, if I was a recruiter, and say, oh, I don't have the social media, that would be a huge red flag to me.
It's kind of like dating. If I remember when I was in, there's someone on social media, it's like, why are you not on social media?
Why aren't you online?
Why aren't you online? What are you hiding?
Yeah.
No, and I second what Massiel says. I think that it definitely doesn't hurt. It's only going to hinder you by waiting to not get on it. And for instance, even when people come to us and we look at their profile and they only have like 400 followers and they haven't been very active, they haven't done much stuff, but yet they want to, share their word. And we're like, well, you don't have to be on a podcast to share your word. You can be doing that via your platform. It's not, you don't have to use our outlet in order to share your word. You can start making that yourself, and I think that speaks a lot, because people can just focus on what they can control and they can build that up, and that can help them in the long run.
That's the thing. It's one of those, I remember when the lockdown first started. That's actually when we started this podcast, when the lockdown started, and now there's just podcasts everywhere, I think, which is great. People are actually getting out there and doing something. I kind of feel that sometimes people might think that they might be behind the curve, or well, I'm 3 months behind, I really can't build anything. But that's kind of
never too late to start.
It's never too late to start. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's just something, and that's one of those things people need to, you're right, be genuine and just get out of their comfort zones and start writing about something, start communicating something, whether it's how you motivate yourself, or what keeps you motivated, or how you're looking at things different. So anyway, I think that people, you're right, there's no late time to start. Mm-hmm. So what else? So how do you I guess with y'all actually connected through online through what was it, Instagram?
Yeah.
So tell us that story, and also kind of try to relate to a little bit on how the digital branding kind of brought y'all together and brought you where you're at today.
Yeah, so it's a pretty funny story, actually. Jason, my husband, actually found Massiel via Instagram, and he messaged her because she was at a restaurant that was very familiar, a place that we go to a lot, which is Bella Green, and explained, basically, can you say like what you did when you saw it? Like you were like, oh, somebody actually is messaging me that's not.
Yeah, so what I thought was weird, so I posted a salad on my stories, and her husband said Bella Green. And first of all, I thought that was pretty cool. He could tell what restaurant it is off as a salad. That's gold. And he then started saying, hey, I think you'd be really good friends with my wife. And he kept hyping Jamie up, like she's awesome, and she likes fitness, and she's also an Oilandgas. And I'm like, this is the weirdest guy I've ever talked to on my DMs.
I'm trying to set you up with my wife.
Yeah. And I'm like, or I really like the fact that he was just hyping her up so much. It was really nice to see, for once, not a guy, trying to get into other people's DMs for other reasons. Right. And I was like, I'd love to meet your wife. I don't really have many friends. I just moved to Houston, and then he kind of connected us. And then I think we messaged each other and said, yeah, let's meet at Bella Green, actually, and go for lunch. And we did, and we spoke for, I think, like 4 hours.
Yeah, we were there forever. And we just, hit it off. And, it was amazing, because we were just both passionate about so much of the same things that we just felt like we've known each other forever. And then it was literally, history since then. And it all happened from Instagram.
So let me ask you a question. Was one of y'all's first steps as kind of a team, your friendship, to do a podcast, or what was...
No, we started hanging out after that, literally as if we would have known each other forever. It was really a weird kind of quick relationship. And she had us over for the 4th of July. Actually, I think it was a little bit over a year that we actually met and started hanging out this time last year. And we were over at her house with my husband for 4th of July. And we were just chatting before dinner and kind of just laughing and talking about what it was like being a woman in sales, oil and gas. And we were just kind of, the guys were against us and kind of like saying, you guys have it so easy. You just walk into an office and we're like, no, you don't, you know? So we're just going back and forth. And at that time, my husband was working with other podcasts and he's like, you guys should start a podcast. Like, you guys really chill together, you know? Like, I think people would be interested to hear you guys talk. And then we kind of just like the next day, Jamie and I were like, let's order stuff on Amazon right now. Let's start a podcast without really even knowing how to do it. We just Googled, we YouTubed it, we read blogs online on how to do it. And then like a week later, we had equipment sent to our house.
Yeah.
And so how did y'all, I guess, find y'all's platform or niche towards y'all's podcast, which is pretty interesting?
Well, what we wanted to do was we realized that there really wasn't a voice for many women in the industry. And
Right.
Macy and I, coming from that side and having such a great experience in oil and gas and having really, honestly, nothing negative to say about our whole entire career thus far, being a male-dominated industry, we have never really experienced any negativity. And we wanted to shine a light on the industry to show how great it really is, because we feel like the outside world thinks it's very negative, especially towards women. And we just don't
Right.
believe that. So that is where we decided we need to start sharing the stories of these women and men, because without the men, we wouldn't be here anyways. They support us. And, you know, both of our mentors were men to begin with. We wanted to share that together. We work together as one. And the stories of both of these, of men and women, is just as important. And to share that, you know, we could show the world how positive the industry really is, and then just
Right.
how amazing it is. I mean, the stories that we've been able to share with everybody. I mean, it's crazy to hear where people came from, and, you know, where the industry has gone since when it started 30 years back. I mean, it's amazing to see the growth. But that was really what kind of, you know, sparked it.
And no one has the same story. You know, you talk to someone, how'd you get in the oil field? Every single story is absolutely different. Every single story is absolutely different. And I think y'all kind of take the same strategy as me. I was looking online, and I guess y'all take the approach of, you know, like this industry is so great because you do make your best friends in the industry. And I met some of my closest friends in this industry. So a lot of people think you're right. It's like this big 10-gallon hats, like guys shake hands and like call it a day, but it's so much more than that. I think that's great. So going back to personal branding, I guess what advice, like if someone was listening to this today, what advice would you tell people to take that leap, to get off the couch and log on or do something? Like what's the first 2 or 3 steps they could take today?
Well, first, if you don't have a LinkedIn, sign up for one.
Right.
I would say start with LinkedIn, because most of the people listening are probably professionals, and they might have lost their job, or maybe they're trying to find something else or just connect with people. I'd say start with, you know, creating your LinkedIn. Start with making sure that all the details on your LinkedIn are correct on your past history. And also give very good detailed information on what you did prior to where you're at today for the other jobs that maybe you worked with. And always write a section of about you, like actually tell something about you. Like, don't just put your work and then your picture and then say, okay, world, here I am. Like,
Right.
Tell something about yourself, and then post, like just post. Like, I don't care what it is, just post something, just start. And I mean, that would be my advice.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Jamie. Just start. Just take that first step. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just find a picture that you like. It doesn't have to be about you. It could be of a rig, or, you know, your kids, or why you wake up every morning. It could
Right.
literally be whatever you feel that morning that you want to talk about and share to the world, and just post. And you'll see a lot of people, there's going to be someone that's going to resonate with you and say, oh, I feel the same way. And you kind of start building those connections and those relationships, and you're going to get likes and you're going to get comments. And I feel like that's what motivates people to keep doing it. It's kind of like an addiction. Like, okay, my post did really well today. I'm going to try this tomorrow. And you kind of, it's a trial and error. Some posts do really good, some don't.
Right.
And you kind of got to find what works for you.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
guess
the
on
thing.
that point too, don't get discouraged, because your first post you might not get anywhere, and don't think, oh, nobody likes me. Because I posted some stuff and it's gotten huge, and I posted some other stuff and it's like, I'll text Macy, I'll be like, I only have like 100 views. What the hell is wrong with this post? And
Everyone
it's
hates
just
me.
Like, some of it goes well, some of it doesn't. It just sometimes.
It's normal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I want to kind of touch on that a little bit. It's not just, I mean, for the likes and comments. I mean, this is all is very purposeful driven. I mean, this is to create a result at the end of the day. It's to have people know who you are, to create relationships and to create connections. So it's not just this, posting some, it's a, cute picture of a cat, here's, 100 likes or something like that. I mean, you actually are telling your story to result in something. So it's not just a digital brand like, oh, that's something, these young kids do these days or anything like that. You're right, Macy. You talked about this in the beginning. Now, day and age, this is the new norm. This is, I think, what happened with COVID kind of accelerated where we're at today, and these virtual podcasts, LinkedIn, and all this stuff. So I think y'all have done a tremendous job. I didn't know that y'all met, not that long ago, and to see where y'all at today is, pretty inspiring. What else do I got? I think we're kind of coming up toward the end, but what's next for y'all? What's next? I mean, how do you evolve your online presence? How do you evolve your brand?
Well,
that's a good question.
It's a great question. Go on.
We would like to continue to, maybe possibly move the space a little bit from just directly fossil fuel to maybe to solar, wind energy, and kind of get some more people coming on the podcast that can tell us what's going on that side of the world, so that those in oil and gas that are following us now can understand also, the energy transition. We recently did a podcast about that on SPE, because we're also part of the SPE advisory board on their social media, and we host for SPE as well. So we'd like to just share more knowledge on that and the stories behind energy transition, and then possibly, continue to partner with companies that support our cause and just see where it goes. Right now, we're just really enjoying meeting everybody, and we've got some great guests that are about to come on, some really amazing people. Yeah. So it's just very exciting right now for us.
And real quick, I mean, if you want to clarify the cause of Flipping the Barrel, I'm not sure if we touched on that, but if you want to go into that a little bit more.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know if Macy was gonna.
Whatever.
So the cause behind it is really just to shine a light on the industry and to share the untold stories of those that might not have a voice otherwise. And the main thing too is that recently we've had a lot of CEOs, but we also do just engineers and management positions too. It's just being able to share how some of these companies are currently working on their diversity and inclusion too within the organization. I think is very pertinent to what's going on right now as well. So we just we try to share all that info on a free platform where people in the industry can understand what's going on and not have to pay to go to some conference or event to listen to it. And they can actually hear the stories from these people on something free and listen at any time.
Right. So I guess a couple more questions before we wrap this up. So as of today, as of July 15th, 2020, how optimistic or pessimistic are we about our industry right now?
I don't know. I always see the glass full,
right.
Half full. But I'm optimistic. I think we always think the worst is here, and there's only one way going up this way. I feel like we've hit bottom. I'm hoping this is the worst downturn that I've ever seen, and that from what I've heard from other people, even though this is the worst one in 30 years in my opinion. I just see us going back up from here. Once COVID, is done and everything kind of settles in, people are going to start traveling again. I mean, I've traveled already. We're all anxious to get out of here. Everybody's going to start traveling. People are going to start taking road trips. The demand eventually is going to go back up. It's going to take a little bit of time, but oil's going nowhere. I think even I've had these thoughts where I'm like, that's it. The industry's done. I need to start looking at tech. I need to get out of it, But the more and more I think about it, we all depend on this industry, and we aren't there yet to transition into just Teslas. You know what I mean?
Right.
It seems like that's what it is nowadays. It's like, screw oil, we're all going to Teslas and this is coming, and it's like, cool, but that's going to take a lot of years before we get there. You know?
And on that note, I recently saw a guy, and I want to find this gentleman because I want to talk to him about his vehicle. He was driving a Tesla and his license plate said oil free. Society is so disconnected. It's not oil free. Just because you plug into a freaking outlet mall doesn't mean unicorns are filling up your Tesla. It is oil and gas. It's coming from oil. It might be even coming from dirty coal. It's not coming from straight wind farms and freaking unicorns and butterflies. It's like, get with reality, you know, and that is where I think, and that is one other thing I'd like to use our platform for. And Massiel and I have both talked about this. And there's a certain individual that we recently put on the podcast that's going to be coming to Houston that we're going to try to partner with and do this. But we want to share all of the things that Oil and Gas does outside of just the gas in your vehicle. I mean, your cell phone, your computer, your clothes, everything. I mean, there's a huge opportunity for oil to have a new face in the new generation and to show what all we provide. And I think that would really change a lot of people on going strictly to green energy.
And maybe that might be a good opportunity for you know, for people in you know, our generation to do a better job at communicating to the outside world on the benefits of, you know, oil and gas and what our industry does for everyone out there. So
I agree because I think there's a lot of negative thoughts towards the industry, because if you think about it, the industry is very quiet. They are not, and they don't like being that much in the media. They don't showcase all the great things that they do. We only show up when we're like, we have a spill, you know, but we don't talk about the millions of amazing things that we do, that we give back to the planet, that we give back to schools, that we give back to, you know, third world countries. I mean, all these operators give a lot of money back to the economy, back to the world. But we don't showcase those things. We actually had a guest on last week, and she was wearing a shirt that said, I support Canadian oil, or I love oil sands, or whatever. And somebody went up to her and said, how dare you wear that? You know, like really confronted her. And she said, okay, let's get rid of oil today. Screw it. I'm on your side. Let's do it. Start by taking off your hat, your glasses, those Lululemon pants you're wearing. That's made with oil. Your sandals. Oh, how did you get here? You took a truck. Okay. And they're on a little island. She's like, how did your boat survive all the way here? Did you row? You know? And she and the person taking in all these things was like, oh, you know? And it makes me realize how many family members I have, or even friends, that think exactly like that. Yep. And I don't blame them. If you're not in this industry, you just automatically think that we're bad and that it's just the oil put in your car. But there's so many other things that come out of that barrel.
Yeah.
Right. So it's instead of being reactive as the industry has been in the past, it's time to be proactive a little bit with kind of what we do for communities and families. And I agree with that. So I guess let's wrap this up. Macy, do you have any, or Macy or Jamie, whoever wants to lead it off first, what message would you have for anyone listening to our podcast right now?
I would say this is a sign to start your social media presence. Don't be scared. I know, at least for me, I was scared at the beginning to post, because you're putting yourself out there and people will criticize you. Right. And that's okay. Just don't let that stop you. Put it out there. Not everybody's going to like what you have to say, and that's okay. Like Jamie said, don't focus on the likes. Don't focus on whether or not it was a good post. Just keep doing it. It's an exercise, and eventually you're going to find what it is that you enjoy posting, and you're going to find your own audience. Everybody has a different audience. And I think you'll actually enjoy it once you give it a chance, because social media it's been really great for us. I mean, you get to meet so many great people. I mean, we get to meet you, JP, without ever having met you, but we get to be online, right? So there's a lot of good opportunity that will come out of it if you actually give it a chance.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And I completely second what Massiel is saying. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't posted something, I think this is just the right opportunity to do that. And I think that'll help you tremendously moving forward in your career. And especially if you're looking for a job, I think that having a good platform, and if you're applying to positions, reaching out to recruiters via LinkedIn. I mean, if you have a good platform, that's a great way to get connected. I mean, they'll see what you're doing, they'll see what you like, they'll see where you've been, and they'll learn more about you. And they might even schedule a pre-call versus just reading what you sent them, via their online platform. And one thing I'd also like to add is that I'm a product of online. I was hired within the industry through LinkedIn, actually. So that's how I started right out of college. And I didn't go to A&M, UT, or one of those universities. I went to Sam Houston. I was a volleyball player, but I got my first job beating out everybody from UT from LinkedIn. So I think that's a great statement right there, just to tell you how strong LinkedIn is.
And that's an excellent point. Lately, I've seen several people thank their LinkedIn connections and their LinkedIn family because they have found a job from their LinkedIn activity, which I think is phenomenal. So if anything, it's not just, an intangible like, oh, I'm online. It's, if anything, it's going to come into your tools chest of things that you kind of need moving forward. Just as you said, the company's looking at your online presence.
Yeah. And I mean, and that was back in 2013. I graduated in 2013 timeframe. So now people graduating college, I mean, their LinkedIn should be their resume. I mean,
Right.
That is what recruiters should be looking at in order to, give them an opportunity. So.
And I think a lot are. And so would y'all like to plug anything, Flipping the Barrel podcast or anything like that before we let y'all go?
Yes, please check out our podcast. I'm sure you'll find at least one episode that resonates with you and that you enjoy. We're on Apple, Spotify, really anywhere you can find podcasts. Just type in Flipping the Barrel. We have a really cool website that we're very proud of at www.flippingthebarrel.com. You can find all our episodes on there. We're also on YouTube. If you type in Flipping the Barrel, you'll see this exact Zoom recording with our guests. And we'd love to hear from you. We're very easy to reach out to, either on our website or directly on LinkedIn. Massiel Diez, and then Jamie Elrod on LinkedIn as well.
Yep.
All right. And actually, I'll just actually have a new LinkedIn page as well for Flipping the Barrel.
Yeah.
So be sure to like and follow. Right.
Yeah, we finally made it.
Yeah, reach out to them. You never know if you're gonna make a new best friend like Macy and Jamie did from all over a salad. So again, if you have any questions for us at Round the Rotary, you can reach us at roundtherotary@cap-petro.com. Again, that's roundtherotary@cap-petro.com. I want to thank you two so much for taking time out and discussing a little thing. It's not a little thing. I think a topic that people need to hear about a little bit more, because I think there is a lot of hesitation to jump on the online platforms, especially right now with everything going on, social distancing, can't go into customers' offices, and especially for those people that we know that have been let go, to have more of an online presence so you do stay relevant. So thank you both so much, and appreciate it, and we'll talk to y'all soon. All right.
All right.
Bye.